Welcome to the glorious sequel, the glorious follow-up of a video I made less than a week ago called Being Rude to Americans, France versus Spain, which is worse? Now, I want to point out, this is a video that was actually well received and very engaging as of today. And in less than a week, it's received 142 views, which in itself, it may not be a whole lot, but considering that it received 30 comments, 9 thumbs up, and 0 thumbs down. Now, I understand by me saying that, several people are going to go back and purposely dislike it so that they can negate what I just said just then. But that's pretty remarkable for me, to make a video that some might say, oh, well, that seems divisive. You're pitting Spain versus France. And well, here's what I'm really doing though. What I want you to know about my vision for this channel is that I'm here not to teach you anything, but for me to learn from you. Okay? It's the opposite of teaching. I'm not here so that you can learn anything from me. I only want to learn from you. You know, as an American who's mainly of European descent and who's never been to Europe, a lot of people will say, well, you need to go travel Europe. How about this? I don't feel like it. I don't want to. Okay? So I'm not going to. I'm Nick Shell. I do whatever I want to do, and I don't want to go to Europe. But I do want to learn more about Europe, and I want to learn more about perceptions. So that's why I make videos, so that I can learn from people in the comments, many of whom will ultimately insult me and call me an ignorant American that should travel to Europe more. But again, what if I don't want to? What if I just want to have conversations and learn from people across the world? That's all I really want to do. So that's where I'm at. I'm being real with you. With that being said, let's look at some of the comments that I received on here in my attempts to enlighten myself and educate myself on why it is that it appears that there's a stereotype that exists in many Americans' minds that French people are rude to Americans and so are people from Spain. But my own personal perception is I've never once encountered a rude French person, ever. I absolutely haven't encountered rude people from Spain. So here's the aftermath of that video. Here are some of the comments that I've received as I'm attempting to learn here. I want to start with our good friend Silent Bob, who had this to say, quote, "The painful truth is Spain and France, in spite of all of its problems," mainly talking about Spain here, "is more developed, more progressive, and more forward-thinking than most American states. It has excellent public health care and amazing infrastructure, which is outstanding for such a small and resource-poor country. Spaniards are tolerant, easygoing, and educated, and simply do not consider the United States of America as the pinnacle of human civilization. Apparently, some ignorant Americans do not like it when their self-centered viewpoint is recognized as such and miss the opportunity to actually learn something. I am sorry for them." End quote. I want to personally respond to that, Silent Bob. I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. And just to be clear, as an American, I want to be very clear. I do not perceive that America is the pinnacle of human civilization. Not at all. We're a young country. We're still figuring things out. So I do not see it that way. And I think what might be easy for certain people outside the country to do is to look at Americans and see what they see on the news and think, oh, that's what Americans are all like. So for example, I did not vote for Donald Trump. Can I be very clear? I did not vote for Donald Trump. I think people outside of America tend to stereotype all Americans. Oh, that's who the president is. That's who they pick. Then that's what they all believe. No, I do not identify with Donald Trump. I do not endorse most of what he believes and how he sees the world. Not at all. So if you think about Donald Trump, don't think about me. Because in theory, the majority of people voted for him, I'm not aligning myself with them, right? You know? And so, yeah, I do not see, as far as America being a great nation, of course it is. Come to America, it's great. But I am not, while I am patriotic, I'm not nationalistic as far as, we're number one, we're the best country on the planet. How conceited of a concept. I would never think that about my country. I think there's all kinds of great countries in the world. And I think it's ignorant to even try to make a list to decide what the greatest country in the world is. America is great. I've been to Thailand. Thailand's great. I've been to New Zealand. New Zealand's great. I've been to many great countries. I think we're missing the point if we have to ask ourselves, what's the greatest country on earth? You know, there's lots of good countries. America's one of them. But as an American, I do not believe that we're the greatest country on earth. We're a great country, and I'm proud to be an American. But for me, I am not a very nationalistic guy. I do not believe that an American human being is worth more than a human being from any other country on the planet, right? You have an American next to someone from, let's think of some country that the Congo, okay? I do not think that an American life is worth more than someone from Congo. Humans are humans. Strip away the national arbitrary labels. We're humans. Humans are humans. Americans are not greater than people from Spain. People from Spain are not greater than people from America or France. People are people. That's my viewpoint as an American. All right, let's move on. Let's check out some other comments here. And I did like that comment, by the way. I think that was very good. All right, let's see what else we got here. I think I need to read this one from Ale World. Quote, the thing is that France is a well-known country in the United States. True. While Spain is not. For many of us, it's frustrating to see that a lot of Americans think Spain is in South America or that we are very poor among other ignorant thoughts, end quote. So I just want to acknowledge that. As an American, I have never once thought that Spain is in South America. I keep seeing that in the comment section. People make an assumption that I think Spain is in South America. I have never said that. I've never thought that. I've always known that Spain is across the ocean. It's very obvious to me that Spain is not in South America. I mean, even because growing up as a boy, hearing that thing about what, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Like, to me, even from then, like, it was very clear that he crossed the Atlantic Ocean and he didn't come from South America. It's very obvious. So I never thought that Spain was in South America. I've never met anyone who thought that either, as an American of nearly 37 years now. But what I think is a very good point, though, is that yes, here in America, we have our way of glamorizing France. America has definitely, we play footsie with France. We have this romanticized idea about France. And sure, maybe a lot of it are certain cliches like the Eiffel Tower and all that. Forget all that though. Still, I think America sees France as a romantic country, a definite destination to go if you're in Europe, and not because of simply the Eiffel Tower, but because there's a certain, it's exotic to a certain degree in still being in Europe, and just the culture is different. It's a beautiful country. I think America has a little bit of a crush on the culture of France. That's probably the best way I can word it. Whereas Spain, we don't think about Spain. And no offense, I know it's a great country. It's just that Americans don't think about Spain. It's not that Americans have anything against Spain. Oh, Spain's a bad guy. Not at all. It's apathy. We don't think about it. We don't think about it. Think of how many times today, this morning, that you've thought about porcupines. You haven't, have you? That's how many times most Americans have thought about Spain. But there's a good chance they've already thought about France. It's just one of those things. There's this natural attraction that Americans have towards the culture of France, whereas we just don't think about Spain. And I think part of that is because of how Spanish influenced America is, being so close to South America, having, especially where I live in the South, having such an influence of Mexican Americans, and I understand that Mexicans are completely different from Spanish people, but we get this this proximity effect of Spanish, or what we believe is Spanish culture, and we think, yeah, I'm good. I know enough about Spain because I know about South America and Mexico. Now, is that ignorance? I say it's apathy. I say, I'm good on Spain. Yeah, it's good. It's great. Okay. Ooh, but look at France. That's cool. What are they doing? Oh yeah, that looks fun. I think that's the real root of it. I think that's the real root of this. Americans are ultimately apathetic towards Spain. They don't think about Spain. But France is so in the end, as I make this video, who's more rude? People from Spain or people to France? Maybe the answer is this. That in the end, I say Spain is more rude to Americans. My perception as a YouTube host and watching all the comments, people from France never leave rude comments. People from Spain do. And I think, here's what I feel. And please Please let me know how you feel. But I feel, and this is my emotions, you can't tell someone that their emotions and that their perception is wrong, right? If it's an opinion, right? Fact versus opinion. My opinion, it feels like people from Spain have a chip on their shoulder. That they want to be liked and respected the way that Americans respect France and love France and romanticize France. But we don't. We don't think about Spain. It's just, as that comment said, it's less known in America. So naturally, if we already kind of like France and we never think about Spain, I can see that I feel that there's a chip on Spain's shoulder. Americans, you should like us more. You should care more about us. You should know us. You should study us on a map. You should come to Spain because we're a glorious country. And the ultimate response from America is like, well, what's that? Oh, France. Oh, yeah, France. So anyway, that's my breakdown of why I think that ultimately Spanish people are perceived as being rude to Americans, whereas not so much in France. It may be a stereotype that French people are rude to Americans, but in reality, and even in the comment section, it ultimately seems that there's this problem going on with Spain and Americans. It feels like Spain thinks Americans are dumb and ignorant, when really I think it's that we're apathetic towards Spain, and that apathy is regarded as ignorance. Again, being an American my whole life, turning 37 in a few weeks, I've never once met an American who thought that Spain was in South America. Not once, ever. So that may be a stereotype that Spanish people have about Americans, but I've never once encountered that. Every American I've ever met in my entire life knew good and well that Spain was across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe. That's an obvious thing. So I think too, though, the danger of this video is stereotyping other people. So even now, am I stereotyping Spanish people? Yeah, based on the comments that I've received on dozens of videos comparing them versus French people, that's what I'm going on, yes. And at the same time, are Spanish people stereotyping Americans? And that we're all ignorant and we all salute Donald Trump and that we all think that Spain is in South America? That's a stereotype too. That's why I'm making these videos, so that we can have honest and real and psychologically based conversations about it. And I hope that this video, even if it angers some people and upsets some people, I hope it continues for us to have more ongoing, real conversations about this, so that we can break past the stereotypes and actually understand each other better. My goal is to bridge that gap and to bring us closer by asking honest questions and giving honest perceptions of what we actually think is going on. I would love to hear from you in the comments.